Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vuvu and this is Vuvu Vena Reads. If you are new on here, please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below. But if you're a returning, thank you so very much for joining me once again, fam.
Vuvu Vena _ reads is an amazing book reviewer, also YouTuber. She reviews books on YouTube, and if I'm not mistaken, she also has a blog as well. So please, if for your connection with literature, get in touch with or follow at VUVUVENA _ reads. She is based in South Africa, and I think it is also extremely important to follow literary content creators who are based outside of the West and in continental Africa, because they do a really good job of bridging the gap.
We appreciate you, Vuvu, for bringing us Turning Pages and for bringing us your BookTube channel.
You know, this is a chance for people to actually see some people that I really enjoy.
Please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below. And if you're a returnee, welcome back, fam.
Vuvu, you're amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
On today's video, I'm just sharing with you my 2019-2020 book journal. As you can see, it's just a flip through, and as you can see, I do leave a space where I can trace my social media growth, because that is important to me, and I specifically trace those four platforms that I have indicated on there. So we'll start in 2019. I tried to keep track of the new books that I got in, whether I had bought them myself or if I had got them from publishers. That really didn't work out for me, but I tried anyway, and I couldn't sustain that. I kept a space for the number of books that I intended to read in a year, and I jotted those down, and then I decided to just keep track of what I read in 2018 as well, which is when my reading journey started in earnest. I also set myself a challenge in 2019 to read Harry Potter from beginning to end. As you can see, I stopped on book 4, which means the following year I finished the rest of the books. I also tried to keep track of new releases that I was looking forward to. That didn't really pan out quite well. But you can see that I titled the months for each book that I read. At the beginning of 2019, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X as told by Alex Haley. What I do track on my journal is who the publisher is, when the book was published, the genre, as well as the gender of the author, what country the author is from, and what I rated the book. I also try and track, as you will be able to see, whether or not the book was given to me by a publisher. I also leave space to write down the memorable things. This was an arc from Pan Macmillan, and that was on the Come Up by Angie Thomas. That one was from Pan Macmillan as well. And I try to tick it off a list of books that I know that I've received from publishers. And then obviously the rest of it is for me to write notes. These notes are personal to me most of the time. Sometimes I include them in my reviews on my blog, www.vuvuvenareads.com, or I include them in my reviews here on the channel. However, mainly the purpose of this is for me to archive that reading experience and then just memorize it for myself, or leave it there for memory for myself, just like people do who annotate their books. You'll see that sometimes I start a book and I don't actually get into it, which is why you're seeing that X there. I tried to read Mr. Medini and it didn't work out. I also note when I'm rereading a book, which is what was happening over there with Happiness is a 4-letter word in November of 2019. It was a reread. Yeah, so basically this is how it goes. I try and also number. You'll see clearly in 2020, as you can see, I didn't have time to track my social media in 2020, as well as me trying to do the new books thing once again, which didn't work out. But in 2020, I made sure that I wrote out my reading plans. Some of them I did fulfill, which is finishing Harry Potter, reading more than 30 books that year. I wrote down Read Beloved by Toni Morrison, but I still haven't done that yet. And so much else that I wasn't able to complete. I completed the Harry Potter series from last year, the year before, and then I also thought I was going to get into The Hobbit, but I didn't. That's where I tracked some of my books, but last year clearly was more interesting because even how I'm tracking is a little bit weird, the books that I read, that is. I still indicated if I was rereading a book, I started writing down the characters because I wanted to remember my favorite characters and why. That's in books that really left a dent in my heart. I also still kept a page to remember which months I read them. So review copies were noted, rereads were noted, the publisher was noted. If I was reading the book because of a book club, I did note that. If the book club didn't have a name, I just wrote book club. As you can see, I got that from J Ball, and I got that other one from NB Publishers. And I try to keep a color scheme of sort. It's not always the case. You will see that I've also numbered these books that I've read. The Handmaid's Tale I tried to start last year, but I kept the same page to review. You will see that the number 10 means that was the 10th book I read, and that was part of a buddy reading group on WhatsApp that's now known as the Azania Book Club. 28 September means that I eventually read that book in September, and then it was my 28th book, and that is Wonder Woman Warbringer. The rest of it is quite self-explanatory. I've left the rest as I had in the previous year. And like I'm saying, this really works for me to track which countries I've read with my intention of reading from the continent, as well as to archive my memory of the books that I have encountered. And and I also note when the book comes straight from the author to me. So if an author approaches me and wants to send me a copy, I'll write on my notes that it is from the author and not from a publisher. If I'm listening to the book, because I got into audiobooks last year, I'll mark that it was an audiobook, especially if I don't have a hard copy of it. I've also tried to start writing down my intended books for the month, so my TBR. And as the month goes on, I start ticking that way. Sometimes it works out that I've read all the books that I thought I was going to read. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I add an additional book and let go of another book, etc. But it helps me keep track. And for certain books, such as the Hlomu series, I also try and keep like a family tree so that I don't forget my characters as I go along. And like I'm saying here on the Gold Diggers, I did do a character list again of the characters that I thought would be memorable. And yeah, this notebook was enough for me to be able to cover the 2 years that is 2019 and 2020 perfectly, which I was very happy about. As you can see, this notebook is like a Bujo type of style in the sense that it allows you to be able to play around with the page. It is a blocked notebook. I prefer the blocked notebooks or the dotted notebooks. I really appreciate that. I'm ticking off here the other books that I did complete in December that I forgot to tick off. And these blocked ones allow you to be more creative than I have been, but I absolutely love them in any case because they inspire me to do a little bit more if I have the time or the energy. And like I'm saying, this book was enough for me to complete the 2 years in, and I got this at Typo. I do believe these books go for a little bit over 200 Rand, if not 200 Rand. And I bought a similar one for this year to start my reading archiving for this year. So I don't write on my books. I don't tab as much anymore. This is really my saving grace. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate you guys for choosing me. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye now.